Okay, that's looking beautiful. Let's do the testing. Let's do the inspect element one more time. We have the images perfectly aligned. This one is also looking good. Slider looking good. We have the buttons. Everything is functional and working fine. Everyone, welcome back once again to this complete full stack NFT marketplace project video. So in the last video, we have completed our services section. In this video, we're going to build one of the biggest component of our application. It's going to be a slider, and we're going to build the slider with a dynamic data. Okay, so it's not actually a slider, it's a component which will be change its data on the base of click event, and we're going to do the changes of data with our demo data. Okay, so that's the component we're going to build. You can see this is the beautiful component we're going to design. So here I'm back into the code editor, and the project tree is already open. So the very first thing we have to do is to come here, go to this component, and in that we have to create another folder. I call it big NFT slider. Okay, copy, we have to create the file nft slider.js, and we have to create the css file as well. So module.css. okay, and I believe that these things are not new to all of you. Okay guys, so let's close this one and let's type RAFCE, close this one and zoom a bit, and now let's start importing the file. So let's call it internal import, and first thing we have to import the style sheet, so which is in the same directory. Okay, now we have to import a couple of things from React. So first thing is going to be, let's say, use state, use effect, and use callback. Okay, this is coming from React. Now we have to import the, let's say, image, and that's coming from Next.js, next image. Now we have to import the icon, so AI fill fire, and that's coming from React icons / AI provider. Now we have to import the MD verified batch. Okay, verified, and that's coming from React icon material UI MD. Okay, so these are the React imports, and in one more we have to import, and this will call timer. Okay, these are the two import. From there we have to import one more things, and we want to import the arrow tb arrow big left lines, and that's coming from React icon / tb, and we have to import one more, which is going to be arrow big what is the name, big right autofill. So these are the import. Let's come here, we have to import one more, so AI fill heart and AI out line heart, so heart line heart. Now let's come down, import images coming from image folder. Let's import the button, and that's coming from / button component. So here we have the internal import. Okay, external internal import. Now we can start taking a couple of use state. Okay, so first thing we'll take use state, and we'll call it ID number, use state and ID1, and we'll take this cons slide the data. Okay, and this is gonna be an array of object. Okay, so here we'll have the data about our slider of the NFT image. Okay, so in this slider data array we'll have an object of data which contain the information about the NFTs. Okay, so first thing is going to be the title, the name of the NFT. We'll call it hello. You can give whatever name you want. I'm just going with this random name. Then we'll give the ID, so it will have one. Name is going to be, let's say, I'll call my name Daulat Hussain, and let's say call it collection. Okay, and I will have a gem. Now let's set the price to the NFT, so let's call it this something big number. And now we have to take the like. Okay, like is going to be this, and will have the image of the user. Okay, the one who created this NFT, and all the images we have inside this images. Okay, user one. And now we have to take the image of the NFT, so we'll call it NFT image. Okay, image, and here we have the NFT image one. We want to provide an offer. Okay, countdown timer, so let's have that. So we'll take a day and give any number. I'll just give 27 hours 10. Then we'll have a minute, let's call it 11. We have seconds, so we'll have a second, let's say something 35. Okay, so this is the data we actually going to retrieve from our API. Okay, so these are the parameters we're going to include in the API. Actually we need to include more data. We're going to have a proper description, we're going to have a user involvement, so a lot of things we're going to add, a lot of data. But initially for this component, this is the data we need to display in the component. Okay, so this is the NFT details, and what we can do, okay, is simply copy that entire. Let's change the name to Swab and change this body. I'm just giving this a random name. Okay, and this will be image2 and image user1 2. Sorry, why we are getting this error. Let's paste one more time, and let's call this one to we are getting an error. So here, okay, this, and we have to provide one more here, and we have to provide this commas. Okay, so everything's looking good here. We have to provide this commas. Right now we don't have error. Okay, so let's do one thing. Simply copy this entire and paste one more time. Change this to Jim and change this to Ryan, user 3, and this is going to be a user 4. Okay, 3, sorry, 3. And that's simply copy and paste and change this to hello home. This is user 4 and this is user 4, NFT 4. So this is the data. Currently I'm taking 4 data, but you can take as many as you want. Okay, I just want to build the logic, that's why I'm taking this demo data. So let's close this one and let's come down, and now we can start our working on our JSX. Okay, so instead of return, we'll take a div. It will have a class style dot big NFT slider. In that div, we'll have another div. It will have a class called dot big NFT slider dash box. Inside that, we'll have another div. It will have a class called style dot big NFT slider box dash left, and in that we'll have this h2 tag, and we'll call it, let's say, let's come here. Here we have this, okay, slider data, and let's scroll that, and that's the data we want to display here. So let's call the slider data, and let's call this id number, because this is this state variable. This id number we're going to change, and on the base of the id number we're going to display the data from our array. Okay, the demo data we have taken. Okay, so if we have 1 in this id number, we'll display the first element of our array, second element of our array, which is a 1 index. Okay, so this is how we're going to display the data. Okay, it will make sense. Just follow along with me. And inside that we have the title. We are getting this error, why it's happening. Okay, the name is really good. Okay, we have given this comma, remove it. So this is the title of the NFT. Come down, we'll take a div. It will have a class and style dot big box left, and we'll call it creator. In this we'll have the detail about the creators, the one who has created this NFT. So we'll have a div inside that. It will have a class called style big slider box creator profile. Okay, and that will have an image. It will have the source. We have the images. So, and the source will provide from this slider data, sorry, and we have to display the user image, user profile. Okay, so that's we have inside this id number we have to provide, and we'll call it image, and this image is the image of the user. Okay, this one, and we have to provide the alt tags. Let's call it profile image. Width is going to be 50, height is going to be 50. Okay, this is looking perfect, and let's have a class. So we'll say style big slider box left created profile image. Okay, I'm giving this huge name because it will become very easy to navigate. Okay, so it's always very important that you have to give a relevant name as per the component. This looks really big, but it will save a lot of, it will save you from a lot of problems. When you will do the refactoring, there you will find that these things will help you a lot. So we have the classes. Let's come back to the application, and as you can see, we can't see that because we haven't imported the files. So nothing is here, and you know why. Let's come back, go to this component, and here we have to import that big NFT slider. We have to export that. Now we have to import that into the pages. So come back to the pages index, and here we have to import that component, and now we have to call the component. Okay, and this way we can easily able to see that. As you can see, we have the name. That means we can easily able to retrieve data from our demo data. Okay, the slider data. Okay, and we can display the image, so it's working fine. Okay, that's working absolutely fine. Close this one, and now I can continue with that. Okay, so let's come here. You can see here we are displaying this one, id1. Okay, everything's working fine. Let's come down. We'll take a div. It will have a class called style dot big NFT box creator profile image. And that will have this paragraph called creator. We'll have this h4. We'll call it, let's say, we'll have the data inside the slider data id, and we'll call it the name of the creator. Okay, and inside that we're going to take this span md verified, and in that save it. Let's come down. We'll take a div. It will have a class called style dot background slider left creator collection we'll take the icon, and then we will have a class style creator, let's call it collection icon. Okay, now we'll take another div. We'll have a class called style bg creator collection and info. In that we'll have the paragraph, we'll call it collection h4, and in this we have to display the dynamic data slider id, and we want to display the collection name. Okay, so let's save it, come back to the application, and here we are getting this error, obviously. So let's come here. I did something wrong here. Okay, I'm giving this name in the bracket, remove the brackets and save it. Now we don't have the error and everything's working fine. You can see the name and the collection, everything's working fine. So things are looking good. Let's come down. Let's take a div. We'll have a class called style dot big box left bidding. Okay, inside that we'll have another div. We'll have a style dot box left bidding box. Okay, it will have a small, and in that we will say current bid, and here we'll have a p tag, and in that we're going to display the data, okay, which is inside the price. Okay, and here we have to take the span, and we'll give the random price here for the time being, conversion price. So that price is in the form of ether, and this price in the form of what I say, in the form of dollar. So right now we are doing this hard code. We're going to change this data dynamically. Okay, hard code data, we're going to build it to the dynamic one. Simply come down and we'll take a p tag. It will have a class called style big box left bidding box timer. It will have a style big bidding box auction. Let's come now, let's take the span and let's call it auction ending in. Okay, let's come down and we'll take a div. It will have a class called, let's say, style dot big box left bidding dash box dash timer dash timer. Okay, we'll take a div. It will have a class called bidding box timer. Okay, and that will take the paragraph and we'll call the data dynamic data we have. So we have to display the time. Inside that we have the days. Okay, that's what we are displaying. If we come here, you can see here we have the day and time. Let's come down, and here we have to take a span, and in that we'll call it day. So let's bring down, simply copy this and replicate it one more time. Okay, let's change this data to, let's call it to hours, and this will become hours. Simply copy one more time, this will become minute. Okay, simply change this to minutes, and this is a MINS. Now we have to set for second, so this is second and second. So these are the data we have getting from that. So let's save it, and here you can see we have all the data, whatever we have specify in the dynamic data. Okay, days, hours, minute, image, price, everything's working fine. Now let's come down, take a div. It will have a class called style dot bg box left button, and in that we'll have a button component, and we'll send the props. We'll call it, let's say, place. We'll have one more button, and let's have a handle click function, gonna be an empty function. Let's replicate it, and this will call view. Okay, these are the button we have. Now let's come down. We'll have a div. It will have a class style big NFT slider box left slider. Okay, button arrow right line, and we'll have a class style dot big NFT slider box left slide button icon. Okay, so this is the one. Simply come here. It will have an on click function. Currently we don't want to send anywhere, empty function we have to give. Let's call it increment function, and we have to write this function. Okay, let's call it increment. Simply copy and paste here, copy and simply paste, and let's call it, here we have to change this to, let's say, left line. Okay, and these function we have to create. Okay, so we have the increment function. We'll have a class style slider data. In that we have to provide the ID, and we have to give the NFT image name. Okay, so we have call it NFT image. Okay, so that's the image, and we have to assign the alt tag, let's say NFT image. So that's everything's looking good. Let's come down, and now we have to take the light. Okay, so we'll have a div, we'll call it style big slider box right box, let's call it like, and here we'll take a icon fill heart, and it will take a span, and we'll have the data, and we'll call it like. Okay, not link, it's like what we have passed here, it's like, not link. So let's come here, we have to simply change this to like, select and change like. So things are looking good. So in this way we can able to display the likes. So with this we are done with the JSX part. Let's have a look one more time. Okay, so this is the internal board. This is the demo data we have. This is the demo data we have. Let's close this one. Okay, working fine. And here we have to create this function. Okay, so as you can see, this is how everything's look. We can display the image, likes, and buttons, all the data, icons, everything's displaying. So the entire component is working fine. Let's come back here, let's come up here, and let's zoom it. Now we have to create those two functions. So first one is called increment, and we'll take an inc, and it's gonna be an arrow functions. We use this callback. Okay, we'll call if id plus 1 is smaller than slider dot length. Okay, then we want to simply call this. Let's come here, we have to simply set the id number to +1. Okay, that's what we are doing in the increment function, and we're going to call this function only when the id number change and the slide dot length change. Okay, so these are the two things we are doing. Simply replicate this, and now we have to write for the decrement function, simply change this decrement, and here we have to simply make it to 0, and this one is going to be a minus. Okay, so this is nothing but simple JavaScript we are writing. Okay, so length, remove this one. So just follow along with me, everything will make a lot of sense. Okay, what we are doing here, we are just changing the ID number. So on the base of that ID number, we can easily able to display like the data in our component on the click event. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. So that's the function. Now we have to run a use effect, and in that we're going to call this function increment. Okay, and it's going to be an empty array. So let's save it, everything's working fine. This is the decrement. Now simply copy that, and we have to scroll all the way down, and here we're going to call the function decrement. So okay, we are getting an error. Okay, let's reload the page, and still we are getting an error. Why it's happening? So let's come here, and things are looking good. We have the data. Let's comment out this, and let's come here. Okay, now it's working fine, and here we have the data. Okay, let's remove this one for a time being. Okay, so still we are getting this error. Why it's happening? ID, so change this to, make it 3 and make it 4. Let's save it, reload the browser, and still nothing's happening. Still we are getting the error when we are calling that decrease function. Okay, let's call the decrease function here, decrease, and this one is going to be increase. Okay, so let's save it. We're done with this. Okay, things are looking good. Okay, now all the data is displayed. Now we're going to style it. Okay, and then we'll see what's the matter, why we are getting the error. So okay, let's start styling the CSS part. Okay, so close this one and go to this big number CSS file, and now let's start styling this. Okay, let's make it side by side so you guys can see and have a look. We'll target the big NFT slider box, and it will have a margin 0 auto. Width is going to be, let's say, 80%. Padding is going to be padding. Block is going to be 8 RAM. Display grid is going to be grid template. Column is going to be repeat 12 1FR. Align item center. So this is how it will look. You can see everything is just came together. And we'll come down. We'll take this media query and we'll add that max width is going to be, let's say, 65 EM, and we're going to say box shadow width is going to be 90%, and padding top is going to be 28 RAM, so it will have some space on the top, and grid template column is going to be 1FR, and gap is going to be 1 RAM. So now it's look perfect on a mobile device. Okay, it's taking full width. Now let's come here and let's start working. We'll target the box left. Grid column is going to be 1/7, and grid row is going to be 1/-1. Come down, we have to take the background color to our main box shadow. We're going to use our box shadow color. Click to, here we have the box shadow. Border radius is going to be 1 rem, padding 2 rem, z index something big number, and height is going to be 90 vh. So now it's look good. Okay, let's come down and we'll target the left h2. Font size is going to be 3 rem, line height is going to be 0. Okay, we'll target the, let's say, left box right. Okay, grid, a column is going to be 6-1, and grid row is going to be, let's say, 1/=1. Padding is going to be 1 rem. Background color is going to be var and our main color, and border radius is going to be 2.5 rem. Box shadow is going to be our, let's come here, main color. So everything's looking fine, you can see. Now let's give this command creator section. Okay, and left creator will say display is going to be grid template column repeat to 1fr. A line item is going to be center. Let's target the creator profile, and display is going to be flex. A line item is going to be center. Gap is going to be 1 rem. Let's come down, target the creator profile image. Border radius 50%. Let's come down, creator profile info, and line height is going to be 0. Come down, creator profile info paragraph, and we're going to say margin bottom is going to be -0.7 rem and top is going to be 1 rem. So look perfect. Now let's come down, creator collection will have a display flex, a line item center, gap is going to be 1 rem. Creator left collection, font size is going to be 4 rem. Okay, this style is not taking place. Okay, here it should be collection icon. Now it will take place. So left creator collection info. So line height is going to be 0. This one is bidding section, bidding box, auction. Okay, so display is going to be flex, a line item is going to be center, gap is going to be 1 rem. Okay, let's come here, let's come up here and target that box, bidding box. Border, let's say shadow dark color. Then we'll take the margin, let's say margin block is going to be 2 rem. Padding 0 4 rem. Border radius 0.5 rem. Okay, we are getting this error. Okay, let's see, what's the problem. Let's go. Okay, remove this one, and right now we don't have an error, so everything's working fine. As you can see, everything's taking shape. So let's working on our JSX. We'll target the bidding box small, and it will have a background color to our var, let's say shadow color, and padding is going to be 1 rem and 2 rem. Border radius 0.5 rem. Font width is going to be 600. Bidding box icon. So display is going to be flex, align item center, and gap is going to be 3 rem. Top align text align going to center, and padding is going to be 1 rem and 0 rem, and 3 rem and 0 rem. Okay, save it. Looking good. Now provide border bottom 1 pixel solid, and we have this our shadow color. Okay, shadow dark color. So here you can see we have the nice border. Let's come here and let's target the box icon, and we'll say font size is going to be 2 rem, and just change this to timer. Okay, so make sure you do this change. Okay, box icon, and this one is box timer. So now you can see it's taking place. So make sure you do this change. Okay, so now it's looking really good. So let's come down, let's target the bidding box, and let's say font size is going to be 2 rem, and font width is going to be 9, 100, and line height is going to be 0. Why it's not taking place? It's let's say, and here we have to call it timer. Okay, save it, and now the sizes are looking big. Let's come down. We'll target the left box button, and display is going to be flex, a line item is going to be center, justify content center, gap is going to be 4 RAM, padding is going to be block 2 RAM and 0 RAM. Why the stylings are not taking place? Okay, the name is really good. I think we have given the wrong name. Let's assign a font size going to be 4 RAM. So nothing is happening. Let's remove that. Let's come here, go to this JSX part, and let's have a look what's the problem. So where is the button we have? Okay, make sure you change this to it's not I, it's you. And now save it, and here you can see the styles. Okay, now the button is working fine. So make sure you change the spelling. Let's come down. We'll target the box left sidebar button, and display is going to be flex, a line item is going to be center, gap is going to be 2 RAM, font size is going to be 2 RAM, and margin top is going to be 3 RAM. So this is how our button would look. Arrows, we're going to fix that, not a big deal. Okay, so these things are looking really good, in good shape. Box left sidebar button icons, so we'll say cursor pointer and transition all 0.3 second easy in. Box left slide PTN icon on hover effect, we want to change the color to our text color, and border radius is going to be 50%, and padding is going to be 1 RAM. So let's make it big, and you can see it's already looking better, but there is some problem in our code because they both are not aligned to each other, they are up and down. Okay, but we're going to fix it. As you can see, this over effect is working fine, and this one is really looking good. You can see we have this component creator collection, so everything's looking on a on desktop really good. And now we can start working on this images. We have the problem here, so on a mobile devices look good. Okay, now let's start working on it. So let's call it right section. So we'll target the sidebar box right box, and position is going to be relative. We'll come down, right box image, and we'll say border radius is going to be 2 RAM. So this style is not taken. We'll simply copy that entire style, come back to the JSX. I think we have forgot to give this class name. Okay, so let's come here, and now we have to assign the class to the image. Okay, let's add the class, and now we have this border radius working fine. Let's come here, box right box like, and position is going to be absolute, top is going to be 3 RAM, right is going to be 3 RAM, display is going to be flex, and align item center. Okay, there we have our likes. We'll have a gap 1 RAM, font size is going to be 1.2 RAM, background is going to be have our, let's say, icon color. We'll have the color to our text color, and we have padding 0.5 RAM and 1 RAM, so it's looking pretty good. Now we'll have the border radius to 5 RAM, so now it's look perfect. Okay, that's the like we have there. Let's come in the media query, and we'll target the box left, and first thing we have to do is to assign height to 83 VH. Okay, look good. Then come down to the right hand side. Well, assign margin top is going to be -70 RAM, so we'll have a quite big space. Okay, let's make it 40. Okay, we're gonna fix it. Okay, it's look perfect. And let's assign one more thing. So we're going to assign padding 1.5 RAM. Okay, we'll have some padding around them. Box left creator, so gap is going to be 1 RAM, and grid template column is going to be 1.3 FR and 1 FR. So this is how it will look. Left creator profile info, so we'll target the font size going to be 0.8 RAM. Left creator collection info, and font size is going to be let's say 0.8 RAM, so a little smaller. come down, we're going to target NFT box left, bidding box, timer, and gap is going to be 2 RAM, and left bidding box timer item P, and we want to change the text. Okay, size is going to be 1 RAM, so a little smaller, not too big. Okay, look perfect. Yeah, I know we have to do a couple of changes, we have to fix a couple of bugs, we do that. Okay, let's come up, let's make this to 4. Okay, and simply comment this out. So right now it's looking good, we have good difference, and simply okay, so simply take the padding bottom 4 RAM, so we'll have some 8 RAM, let's make it 10, so we'll have some space from the bottom. Okay, and let's make it to 110, let's make it 90, let's make it 90. Okay, so let me go on desktop, this is how to look, this section is looking beautiful on desktop device, and the button is all working fine, and here the image is also looking good, but we have some problem in the alignment. I will try to find out what's going wrong. Okay, things are looking good, and the functions are not working, we are getting this error still, we're gonna fix that. Okay, so let's come here, still we have that, so let's come back to the code and let's stop the application and let's restart the application one more time. Click on this and click on this, we are still getting this error. Okay, let's bring the terminal down, and here we have the problem. So I was stuck for half an hour and I was wondering that what went wrong in my code and why this function is not working because of this silly mistake. So instead of passing this ID number, I'm passing the functions, and that's why we are not getting it. Simply comment, and this is the exact code we have to write. ID number we have to pass, and on that ID number we have to add 1, not the function. Okay, and that's the same thing we have to do here. Simply comment this, actually remove this code, we don't need this one, remove this one and remove this one, and now that function will work. Simply come down and now reload the browser and just wait, and here everything is good. Now you can see, click on this, you can see we can change the data dynamically from our slider data. Okay, data is changing, everything's changing. Okay, image is also changing, so this looks really good. So our data is working fine, we can easily able to render the data, the logic we have built. Okay, so let's come to the style, and here we have to do one more changes, and I have found that bottom padding bottom, it should be not there. Okay, so we have to simply remove this and we have to assign padding block instead of padding bottom. So make sure you do this change as well. Okay, padding block. And one more change we have to do is, the reason why we're getting the image up and the container down because of this grid row, we have to, there should be no space between minus. Okay, let's remove the space, and now we can easily able to have the perfect container. So save it, and now you can see it's working fine. So make sure these changes you have to do. I wasted half an hour for figuring out that what's went wrong, and we have seen because of this slight one distance space in the minus sign, we were not able to have the styling, and now you can see it's working fine. We can easily able to display the image side by side and the detail, and it's 100% responsive for all the devices. Okay, we can click, we can change the text, we can change the data. Okay, this function is working. Okay, we have one more problem here, not a big deal, we're gonna fix that. So our demo data is working fine. Let's come back to the JSX, and here we have the image. Actually, I don't have the NFT image number 4, I have only 3 image, and that's why we're having this problem. So what I will do, I'm going to change this to image, let's say 1. Okay, because I have only 3 images for the NFTs. So right now we don't have any problem. Now we can easily able to switch between the images and the data as well. And to make it more realistic, let's change other data as well, the days, the price, let's change these things as well. Okay, so let's have a look finally. Okay, collections, name, creator, everything is changing. Let's change this quickly, 20, and let's remove the pricing as well. Let's change a little bit in the pricing, change the number 11, this one is 21, and this one is 05. Change the pricing as well, and here we have to do the changes. Change this one. Okay, change the price as well. So here we have changed the data, and you can see here we are getting the error because we have used the 0. Okay, this is what we have to fix in the minutes. So let's redo the page, still we have the problem, and here we have to remove the 0 and now it's working. So we have to remove the 0. We have to remove 0 from this 5. Okay, now let's read the page. Now we don't have any errors and our component is working fine, and now we can do the test. Click on this and you can see all the timers, all the data is working fine. We can easily able to switch. It's looking perfect on a desktop. Box shadow, everything's working fine. And let's check on a mobile device responsiveness. Okay, we have problem on a mobile device. We're gonna fix that. Okay, so here we have to fix two things, actually a lot of things. We have to, first thing, we have to manage the space, then we have to provide the space between the creators, and we have to increase the height of the container as well. Okay, these are the fix we have to do. So let's come back here and make sure here you have to do the changes. Instead of height 83 vh, we have to take 120 vh, because I did a testing and I found that this value suits the element. Okay, so remove this one and simply uncomment this and save it. You can see right now it's looking perfect. We have the space and all the space is gone and everything is looking perfect. Now we have to fix that container, and to fix that, here we have to do the changes in the creator section. So here instead of 1.3 fr, we have to say 1.ffr. Okay, 1.8. so simply remove this and simply uncomment this one, save it, and here we have, it's looking perfect. Okay, and here we have to provide a line height to 1, save it. Here we have some space and now it's looking perfect. 100% responsive for the mobile device. Let's take a final test. Okay, it's looking perfect, looking perfect. Okay, the data is changing, the state is changing, and we can easily able to switch. So make sure you did all these changes which we have done. Okay, so we are done with that component. Now let's close this one, make it big, and now let's make it big and let's do a final test. Okay, so this is the navigation, no breaking changes have done, everything is working fine and beautiful. This is the profile and button, this is the hero section, this is the services section, and this is the biggest slider. Okay, and the completed one. Okay, you can switch the images, all the data, and on the base of this click event we're going to make an API call and fetch the data from there. Okay, so it's looking perfect, and this is the footer which is actually looking beautiful. So that's looking incredible, and okay, that's looking beautiful. Let's do the testing. Let's do the inspect element one more time. We have the images perfectly aligned. This one is also looking good. Slider looking good. We have the buttons. Everything is functional and working fine. Now simply open up a terminal and now let's push this code to GitHub. Okay, so and type git init. But before we do that, we have to come back to GitHub and simply create a new repo. I'll call it NFT big NFT slider. Okay, hit enter. It's gonna be a public. Now we have to initialize these command. Okay, add dot. Okay, we got the error because we have to delete this folder, get folder, and now we have to initialize once more time, delete permanently. Now get init. Now we have to get add dot. Okay, copy this, paste here. Simply copy this, paste, simply copy this, paste, and we have to push finally. Wait, it's loading, sorry, uploading. So here refresh the browser and here we have that. Open the component, in that we have this big slider, and that we have all the code we have written for our component. You can see everything's working fine. We have the CSS, we have written almost 200 lines of CSS, really huge. Now let's come back. So that's it in this video. Hope you guys have found it and you have built this beautiful slider. If you have anything to know, do leave in the comment section, and if you haven't saved the playlist, if you haven't saved the article, do so, because all the updates I will provide in that. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do so. That will motivate me a lot to work on this project and bring cool project for all of you guys, so you guys can benefit